Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Pillar to Post. I am Rashawn Aline, and I'm joined as always by Colby Hamling, and we are going to be previewing the last race day of the second season. It's the Barbados Thoroughbred Breeders Association race day, and it features the Grade 3 Btba Sprint, which is going to be run in memory of Francis Cozier. So it's going to be a long competitive race day, 11 races, Colby. Let's just jump right into it with race number one. It's the Gandalf a lot of weights race. This is run for West Indian bred two-year-old maidens at 1,100 meters. And when you have two-year-olds early in the season, obviously experience pays a lot. And you're going to go with the experience. You're taking number three, Miss Ayla, in her second start.
Yeah, hi everyone, and as you mentioned, Rashawn, let's get straight into it. Miss Ayla, it's pretty hard to look at a field of six, half of them being first-time starters, and you have one who's a repeat starter in Miss Ayla, who just ran second, and the horse that beat her is obviously missing. Now, experience pays well with these two-year-olds. Miss Ayla was up on the pace early. She's fast. She's brave. She was beaten by Dancing Leo coming for home. I guess she got a bit tired, but as I repeat, against first time starters, she has a race under her belt. She knows what the grind feels like. It's really hard to go against this one for me.
Yeah, this is a valid pick. Obviously, she's going to be the favorite. I just didn't think this race was super fast. For five flat and to lose the race that was won in 102 and 3, it didn't make me love this race at all. So it made me look to a horse that is going to offer something new that is not in this race. So I'm going to go against the three that are exiting the race behind Dancing Leo. I'll take number six, Fantastic Demas, who on paper might look like he has the most modest pedigree by Aristodemus out of Right Move. But this mare is very prolific. He's a full brother to Fantastic Shantae, who won her first start, and a half to three other winners, and not just one-time winners, winners. So this is a running family, just like Dancing Leo's from a running family. He was able to beat Miss Ayla. So this is I'm just gonna have the flip here of you. You have Fantastic Demus as well. I love the claim of 7 pounds in his first start. So 114 is gonna put him right there with Miss Ayla in the weight. So I think that he, if he is as talented as his pedigree, could offer some opposing value to Miss Ayla. And then we both agree on the third choice, number four, El Dorado City.
Yeah, Rashawn, there isn't too much depth in this. There isn't too much to talk about. The other two horses who would have had previous starts really didn't impress me. So I'm forced to go with the first time starters. And I did also go with pedigree just as you did. And there's not much to
Yeah,
add.
with El Dorado City, it is a pedigree pick. She is by Stockyard, who's flying Jenny Sire, and then out of Sydney's a superstar. So half to a winner, Twinkle Toes, but the family's really good. Vanity Affair if you trace it back. But it's Miss Ayla's race to lose, and we'll see how the two-year-olds do in race number one. Race number two is the Dominus. It goes 1,570 meters for the 100s and lower. So this one lost a little bit of its sting with Soleil Vaughn getting scratched. You're going to go for Prince Taruna to make the double.
Yeah, Princess Aruna, in my opinion, on her day, or at least at her best, blows these right out the park. Etta James, in my opinion, is a sprinter. Brilliant News hasn't been there. And then Lovely is really her only competition, in my opinion. Princess Aruna, who would have been missing for quite some time as it relates to form, came back last race day and simply blew them out of the park. She looked like the horse that we know. And if she can repeat this, if she can give me the same effort as we're quite accustomed to, I don't see why she should have any issues whatsoever. I expect Etta James to be early on the pace. I don't expect her to be able to make 7.8 furlongs. If I'm wrong, so be it. It's all a matter of opinion. But I can see Princess Aruna swarming them at the top of the lane and running right by them. Ricky Walker having the time of his life once again.
Yeah, this is obviously the class horse. She has that weight for a reason. Brilliant News, I feel like, is the outlier, and it would be hard to see him winning. But I think Princess Aruna was very impressive last time out, but it is worth noting that she did win with 107 pounds. So I think she's facing two really big foes in Lovely and Etta James. So to distribute that 9 pounds, I think is going to be hard. I actually disagree on the Etta James
Etta
and
James.
not being a miler. We'll see. I think that obviously she hasn't gone the mile before, so she gets this reputation that she can only sprint. But if you look back at her last race, she did not break that well, and she made a big move up the back stretch to go by Soleil Levant, who was leading, and to engage Paper Trail, and she took the lead. And these conditions were soft. And this is not a track that is conducive to making these big middle moves. And as you're going to see in this replay, she continues on. So I think that there is some stamina in this 3-year-old filly with Soleil Vaughn scratching. She's going to be loose on the lead. No one should be close. And I think Aaron Daniel can really just keep her together to get that extra 1.2 furlongs further. And I think this is a horse that could be dangerous. The blinkers come off. Yes, she shows speed, and yes, she might be bred for 6 furlongs and less. But look at how this horse is fighting on with Soleil Vaughn after making that move. So I think with the firmer conditions and no one to challenge her, why can't Etta James stretch out? And then lovely, we both have her underneath. This one is just as honest as they come. And what can you say? Lovely does everything asked of her. She's a great mare, and I think she will be one to hear from in this race. It's a 4-horse field, so of course she will be. So I'll go Etta James, you'll go Princess Aruna. We'll see how that one goes, yeah?
We'll see how that one goes. But just to take a touch on a comment you made earlier about the weight difference, if you look a calendar year ago, 23rd of August 2025, Princess Aruna would have faced Lovely going 7.8 again. Princess Aruna had 128 and Lovely had 114. There's evidence, and that was actually, I think, Princess Aruna's last win a year ago. So
Before,
I can see,
exactly. I
yeah,
think like since then, Princess Runa's kind of gone the wrong direction from there. She's
yeah,
not run poorly. She's had like a million fourths, but she's also been behind Lovely since. So I think the corner has changed for Lovely, where she's very competitive with Princess Aruna, and I'm not sure if Princess Aruna can give her this weight and beat her in touch. And also a race that isn't going to set it with any pace.
absolutely agreed. But we move on to race number 3, the squadron leader handicap, going 9 furlongs for horses rated 85 to 62. And we have a new face in this race in Annie Way. As much as she is a new face, my eventual leader landed on horse number 4, Phil Moores. Now, Phil Moores, simply like Princess Aruna that I would have mentioned before, has been missing in form for quite some time, but had a race last race day with Anderson Trotman, a return in the saddle. And this horse looked like the Phil Moores that we remember, a stubborn leader, a hard leader. And he brought him back to the top of the stretch, eventually beat him by a younger import in Foron. And I guess I can see the trend in why you picked anyway. This is also a younger Creole, a younger import, sorry. And Anderson Trotman picks up the right on this one instead of going back on Phil Moores.
Yeah, I am not. It wasn't because of this race that I picked anyway, but I do like anyway because I just don't know where I'm going to land. I think with this race first on Phil Morris, Infron is really good, and this is a spark, of the good Phil Morris. So will he be able to get these same dynamics? I don't know. I'm gonna take the new face with anyway, and I actually looked through and I was like, I actually have a really good day for Anderson Trotman. So I hope that it does come through
Yeah.
that our winningest jockey could, find back some form. But I'll take number 7 anyway, as you mentioned. She makes her first start here in Barbados, and this is a 3-year-old filly. She hasn't raced since March. So the 5-month layoff is obviously a concern, but horses do really well when they get off the plane. And we're going to show her maiden breaking win in her last start. This horse has run 3 times. She's crossed the wire in front twice, but she was disqualified in her second start and put behind the runner up. I think when you watch her races, she's very versatile, and I think that makes her very dangerous if she's the 85 rating that they gave her. In her earlier start, she was able to be closer. If they go, she can sit back. And I think that's why I ended up on her, because if Valiant's loose, who's on my second line and on yours as well, at 9 furlongs and galloping, he's very dangerous. But my concern with Valiant is that he hasn't won with more than 120 pounds. So the 128 is a concern. And then when you have like Phil Morris and potentially Showtime hasn't really shown this speed with Valiant present. But if they go with him and make him uncomfortable, the ones coming from behind, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, I want number 7. I want anyway. So I think she was like process of elimination, where if she's good, I think she can hang with these. Valiant on my second line. And then I'll take number 2, Priceless, who runs well all the time. I see
Always
a rough trip. Exactly. I see a rough trip for him all the time. Not all the time, last time. And I thought what was particularly noteworthy, we talk about like Feet on Flames and Northern Star with the amount of wins that they had. I was very surprised to see the amount of seconds that Prices had. 19 seconds. My goodness, that is insane. So this is a horse that you runs out your exactas and trifectas. So I think that that's another one that you can watch in this spot. Maybe not for the win, but it's really the perch race for me with Anyway, Valiant, and Priceless.
That's absolutely fair. My concern with Valiant was the weight also 128 pounds, and especially with Phil Moore's dropping it down to what I think is 117, 118 with the
Yeah.
apprentice claim. That's a horse that I can see getting loose on the lead. Let's consider it Heroes Day, Priceless, Capo Cat. They're not going with him. The only speed is Phil Moore's Valiant. And anyway, I know it's crazy not considering Showtime, but as you would have mentioned, Showtime hasn't been showing the speed that we know she has. So if I'm wrong and she goes and show it, so be it. But I expect her to sit off the pace as she's done recently. And anyway, I hope this one does well. But I gotta miss her this time. It's
No,
not
it's
it's not her time for me. But
totally fair.
race race number 4, the Dawn Angle Sunny Handicap, 9 furlongs, 55 and lower. We have horses like Heidi Marie, Mandarin Oriental, the runner up in the Derby, Faster Cash, who's found some form out of nowhere. And my winner in this race ended up on horse number 2. Horse number 2 being Heidi Marie. Now, Heidi Marie has. Now, I'm not sure what sparks these startups in form for some of these horses, but Heidi Marie has been nowhere for a couple starts, and then all of a sudden comes and drops the form of a lifetime. And coming back here with the return with her at least at 125 pounds, Delano Lopez, this horse is going to be loose. In my opinion, this horse is going to be loose. When I look through the field, I look at Mandarin Oriental, Drogon, War Party, Tinkerbell. Realistically, the only pace here for me, Heidi Marie. Now, in her previous start on the soft, she was caught behind horses and still gave me enough heart that at the top of the stretch, she had a brilliant shot. This time, fingers crossed, we should have a firm trap and she should be able to get to the lead where she more so desires and can give me her all. Now, coming off the pace, Faster Cash is going to stand a brilliant chance as well. Mandarin Oriental, who's, for lack of a better term, always there or thereabouts, should be dismissing these, but just doesn't get the job done for me.
Yeah, I am not obviously going to have to say much differently because we have the first three. I just have a different order in the exacta. Heidi Marie is very dangerous. The only concern with the pace might be Dorcas on the stretch out with 104 pounds. She's shown some speed
Mhm.
in her sprint races, but honestly, Heidi Marie could take the lead here. But my winner as well, Faster Cash. If she takes the lead, I'll be very grateful. I think this is a horse that can be closer. And her last start, you said she's gotten form out of nowhere. She's learned to win out of nowhere. This is a horse that always hits the board. I think that's very noteworthy. She's got two wins, 4 seconds, and three thirds from 12 starts. So she's only been off the board three times in 12 starts. And if you look in this replay, she was so far behind, had to come so wide. When you look at the eventual winner also in this replay, Octavia Sienna, the four, getting the most perfect trip up the inside while Faster Cash is
Mhm.
coming super wide, I think, and she never stops running through the line. You change this trip and Faster Cash has won three in a row. So I think a change in trip here at 9 furlongs. Hopefully, she can be closer in a smaller field. And Faster Cash can be very dangerous at 119 pounds. When you see Heidi Marie giving her 6 pounds and Mandarin Oriental giving her nine, I think Faster Cash is doing as good as any in this race, and I'm going to take her over Heidi Marie. And then Mandarin Oriental gets back Daniel for a second time. And this one is, I've been chasing him, but he just does not know what it is to win. 128 pounds, again, I say all the time, it does not bother me. He runs with this weight. But I think Faster Cash is going to take some beating. She's on the up and up, so it's going to be really, really thrilling to see what she does in race number 4.
Topping up your account made easy. Go to barbadosturfclub.org. Click betting and select top up account. Scroll down to select your desired amount and click add to cart. Click view cart, verify your amount, then proceed to checkout. Fill out your billing details and click place order, and you'll be ready to bet.
And we're going to move on to race number 5. It's the Bobby's Dream allotted weights race. This is for West Indian by 3-year-old maidens at 1,100 meters. It's hard to say that there's a name that jumps off the page in a maiden race this late in the season for 3-year-olds, but Arya Stark drops out of the Derby she's going to be the very, very hot favorite here, and we're going to land on her.
I mean, she's a favorite and deservedly so, Rashawn. You look back through her form, and the only time she ran lower than third was the Derby, going 10 furlongs. We cut that distance in half, and we look back at her last two efforts at 5.5. First time she's been second. The second time around, she was third, being beaten by Serenity and Twinkle Toes. And then she ran second in the slot, going seven. She now returns to 5.5, and in the replay shown, this is her last time going 5.5, and she sits off the hot heels of Twinkle Toes. Not the fastest horse in the world, but it seems like that's where Arya Stark is comfortable, and she makes a big effort at the top of the stretch, but doesn't quite ever get there.
Yeah, this is the race that gave me more of a gauge of who Arya Stark was, and it was disappointing to find out who she really was. And I did. This showed me she wasn't as good as I thought she was. And she's now, as you said, dropping back in quality. She had no excuse to lose this race, but I think this is more of the same with the other six that she's going to face. She's simply better than these, and she should win this race. If she has any semblance of the talent left that she's shown, she's going to win this race. And this is my second winner for Anderson Trotman. I think that she will get a good trip behind the speed. She's also pretty fast herself, and she's just should be better than these. On my second line, I'll take number 5, Sparrow, who you have nowhere. This is a full sister to Hurricane. Again, a field that isn't the most, it doesn't have the most, and I think this second time starting filly, she was behind Bossy Lady in her debut. She cuts back to 15 to 1100 meters. She puts on cheek pieces. There is a pedigree to be good, and I think second time out, Edward Walker is usually better second time out. So I would expect this filly to take a step forward in her second start.
Which is completely fine, but I can't quite play the pedigree. We've seen siblings of Hurricane before, and none of them are half as good as he is. This one would have to shock me, so I don't have her anywhere to be found. My second line I went with horse number 7, Star Time, who's, in my opinion, the I can't even say the class horse, but I want to say the consistent horse here. I
I
honestly
don't
don't
know
know what
about
to
that.
call it.
She's definitely one that's run the most. She's got speed. I picked
Yeah,
her
the
as
experienced one,
well.
should I say?
Yeah, we both have Codebreaker. Just want to know, Codebreaker is a late non-starter, so you will see in our picks, but this one is not running. But I think Star Time is definitely one that will be one to watch. But I don't think she's a huge threat. I mean, it feels
No.
small, so we'll see. But they're trying to find things to say about Start Time, and she'll be a part of the
Yeah,
pace, and she'll be one to watch, and we'll see how that one goes. But Arya starts race to lose in
it's
race number
Aristarch's
5.
race to lose.
Yeah,
Start Time is the more experienced one, but after that, it's anyone for third.
yeah.
So we move on to one of the features of the day. This is the Btba sprint in memory of Francis Cozier. And unfortunately, Nostradasa is a late non-starter. So we do miss the speedball of Nostradasa. But now that she's been removed from the race, Major Dan is basically the class horse. Right here at 108. You'd want to call it open and shut case, but in this situation, he's rated 108, but he was beaten by Paper Trail last year, rated 76. I'm not sure what Paper Trail was rated last year, but
I
Paper
think
Trail
Paper
did
Trail came
carry
in rated 52 or something very
52,
low.
and Major Dan had to be significantly higher than that. But Paper Trail did carry more form going into this race. Paper Trail has not won a race since 15th of November 2025. Yes, beating the same Major Dan, but giving away about what, 23 pounds on Major Dan's side.
Yeah, I think this is a completely different BTBA sprint than last year, or coming out of last year, where those two horses ran 1-2 and the favorite Dominus did not finish. Major Dan obviously is the class horse, as you said, the highest rated horse, and by a mile, with the scratch of Nostradasa. And he is good, and his races aren't as terrible as the 7th and 4th and 5th may say. But my
Mhm.
concern is obviously the 132 pounds. He did run really well with it last year, but he's not a horse that wins races with those kind of weights. So when you look at this race, now it's, do you want Major Dan and Paper Trail, who are the proven higher rated horses, dropping kind of in class? Or do you want Premise and Espresso taking that step up? And this race was won by a horse taking that step up last year, and I'm going to go in that favor with horse number 3, Espresso. I think this is a very, very good up and coming Creole filly. She's won 2 of her 6 starts. She's just progressed so quickly and so nicely for Yellow Star Racing. And in this race that I'm showing from her last start, where she did lose to Premise, I think she will turn the tables. she moved so early into a pace that collapsed. Fantastic Justice and Binary Code were nowhere around at the end. So I think Aaron Daniel made the mistake going after them 3 furlongs out and then had nothing left in the last furlong to fight off premise. And you need something left to fight off a closing sprinter. So as you see, the pace setters are falling apart and she's trying to hang on for dear life. Also did not change her leads at all in the stretch. So I think that if she can sit behind the speed and come with one run, and you saw how quickly she took over this race, she has a turn of foot. I think this is a really good 4-year-old, and I think Express is going to run away with the BTBA sprint.
Understood, Rashawn, but on my case, I still sticking with Major Dan. 132 pounds, 3 horses are carrying versus Express was 127, and there's no apprentice claim allowed. So Aaron Daniel isn't even an apprentice anymore. But at
He's not,
127,
yeah.
she has to take the weight. There's no getting away from it. And I don't think she's 5 pounds within Major Dan. Obviously, that's on paper. If I said that last year, it would have been shown up, obviously, with paper trail. But I see Major Dan taking an easy lead here. These are not as fast as Major Dan. And I see Major Dan having a complete walkover. I think this is a walk in the park for him. No disrespect to the other horses or other connections. But I have obvious reasons of saying so. Major Dan's form has not been the prettiest recently, a fifth, a fourth, a seventh. But before that, when was the last time this horse ran lower than second? And obviously, he has been facing significantly better quality horses before then. So if this is Major Dan of at least 14th of February 2026, there's
Yeah,
no
I think
beating him
it's valid
whatsoever.
to say he's the horse. I just think Paper Trail is faster, so I might disagree there. But this is going to be a
If it was
competitive race
off,
for
I'd agree with
eh,
you.
yeah, for a race that's scratched onto 4. It's very good BTB sprint in race number 6, and then we're going to move on to race number 7. It's the Tiara Handicap going 1,800 meters for West Indian bred 3-year-old, and we get the return of the winner of the Guineas and the Derby in ultrasound.
Yeah, Rashawn. Kind of surprised to see him back so soon, but going back to 9 furlongs, I don't see any of these horses giving him trouble. I mean, clearly he's one of, if not the best steer in this race. And I don't want to call it a walk in the park because 128 pounds is a lot of weight, especially going 9 furlongs. But giving me that big run he gave me in the Derby, the jockey being as patient as possible and biding his time, especially with 128 pounds, I think it'll take a marvelous run to defeat this horse. And I don't see anybody in this field putting that down.
Now, coming out of the Triple Crown, he won the Guineas. He had an excuse in the Midsummer, and he won very impressively in the Derby. It is without a doubt that Ultrasound is the best 3-year-old in the country. But is he so much the best that he's 18 pounds better than the rest of them? That's where I'm gonna have to wait and see. I give him a lot of respect for his performances in the Triple Crown. And he's a very good horse. So I'm going to take Ariel, who was right behind him in the Derby. She was second. And the big reason here is the 110 pounds that she's going to take with Devontae Abraham. 18 pounds at 9 furlongs for a horse that was just a length behind you when you gave her 5. I have to think that Ultrasound is going to lose here. If he wins, I'm not surprised, but you have to take a stand here. He's going to be even money or even less than. So I think Ariel on the outside, she's run very honest. She was on the board in the Guineas, was 4th in the Midsummer, 2nd again in the Derby. She's going to love the 9 furlongs. If there's any moisture in the track, she's going to like that as well. And 110 pounds. She and Ultrasound before Flying Jenny blew up late last year were the best 2-year-olds. She ran just as good in the Triple Crown, and now she's getting 18 pounds. So I'm just going to go Ariel here over Ultrasound. Then I'll take number 7, Atara, who was the hopeful winner in January. She missed the Derby, but she was right there with Ariel in the Midsummer, and I thought she ran pretty well. And she was on the worst part of the track for a very long time in the Midsummer. So I think Atara's another one, 109 pounds with Lester Edwards, and then Undeniable. And I don't know how to get a read on Undeniable. I thought there was a lot of talent there when he was a maiden, ran well in the Midsummer, and then just completely threw up the white flag in the Derby. So that was very disappointing. So he falls on my 4th line. So in the Tiara, I'll go 8, 3, 7, and 1.
Just as you mentioned with Undeniable, I had pretty high hopes of this horse. At one point, he was my Derby upset, but that didn't pan out. Ended up running, I'm not even sure, but he will fall on my second line. 116 pounds with a jock upgrader, Ricky Walker. I have to be a little bit, hopeful. as it comes to this one. My third line is your winner, Ariel. Ariel has been knocking about the entire Triple Crown, placing and being there or thereabout. But my confidence isn't quite the highest with this one. And to round out the top four is Atara. Just as you would have mentioned, um, this horse has been running very well. Again, as you would have mentioned, would have been on the worst part of the track for a very, very long time. Completely skipped the Derby. I think she's good enough to run fourth. So in the Tiara, my picks are 3, 1, 8, and 7.
No, so we're gonna move on to race number 8. It's the stolen handicap. This one goes 1570 for the 25s and lower. I I have a opinion in this race. It's not the strongest as this field comes up. There's a number of ways that you can go. We go different directions. You take number 1, Temple Dancer.
Yeah, Temple Dancer, who has found some form recently. Last 3 starts, 2 seconds, and a third. And this is whether it's been 7 or 9 furlongs. I think he's a bit better at 7, in my opinion. Returning to 7 furlongs, 123 pounds, and looking at the rest of the field, who he has dismissed before, I don't see why this horse should have any kind of trouble repeating. Now, another horse that I can highlight is Miss Universe, who I would have on my second line. I'm simply choosing Temple Dancer over Miss Universe due to the 4 pounds. Now, 4 pounds is not a lot to a racehorse, but let's be fair. I have to find a reason. Giving away 4 pounds sometimes is the difference.
Yeah, that's definitely obviously one to concern. And she's probably going to be giving him 7 pounds because Lester Edwards is going to claim. So that's even more feather in your cap for picking him over her. But I'll take number 4, Miss Universe. She won 3 starts ago, beating Temple Dancer. And since then, she came back. She ran behind Rush on the 6th of June. And I remember watching this race and just thinking, Delano Lopez is frying this mare right now. She went 26 and something and change for the opening quarter. And then the half mile was 50-1, completely sped it up to a 24-second quarter. And that was, in my opinion, unnecessary. I thought that was way too fast for her. You can see she's built a very big lead, of course, because she's going that fast. And at this point of a 9
Completely out of
furlong,
points.
and yeah, and going that quickly, she's not going to outstay a horse like Rush. So I thought she was very courageous to finish second in this spot after she broke her maiden. So coming back after this, then she goes a mile and gets outbroken by Vita Rosa, and then she's just wide the entire time. She's far off the pace, which is not the game she wants to play. So I draw a line through her last race, and I had an excuse for why she lost 2 back. So getting back to something that's good, there shouldn't be a reason why she doesn't get the lead here. And if she's on the lead and comfortable and doesn't, run these fractions, I think she can be very dangerous regardless of what weight she's distributing. On my second line, I'll take number 8, 17 million US, who was in that race that we shown when Miss Universe won as well. I think these three, if you run this race 10 times, someone wins 4, the other 2 win 3 times. And she's coming back into some form as well. There's some moisture in the track, so she will relish that. A good claim here to 120 pounds with Kadeem Mohammed. Then Temple Dancer on my third line. And I'll take number 5, Early Riser, to round out the super with Ricky Walker. The weight's just the reason he's so far down for me.
Yeah, my first two I'm super confident on. On my third line, I went with horse number 8, 17 million US, who it's just always knocking around with this field. Whether the field has in 12, whether it has in 4, she's going to finish in the money. And I don't see anything stopping her from doing that. And then on my fourth line, I really had a hard time picking a horse. I'm not gonna lie. It was really difficult on the fourth line. But I ended up with prominent 1, 4, 8, and 2.
Let's start betting. Go to BarbadosTurfClub.org. Click betting and select mobile wagering information. To the left, click Start Betting. Enter your account and PIN to log in. Select Event. Then select the race followed by your bet type. And choose your bet amount. Select your horse or horses. When finished, click Bet, verify, and click Accept. And you're ready to win.
So we're going to move on to race number 9. It's the Vitality Handicap. It goes 1,100 meters for the 60s and lowers. And this is where I think the card starts to changed its tone. This is some deep races coming up and very, very competitive. And you're going to go for a completely different direction. I think that's what this race offers, where you have many different options. You'll take number four, How You Do.
Yeah, I went with a completely different direction to you. I went with horse number four, How You Do, a 4-year-old Grey Colt by Are You Talking to Me? Last two starts were 2/3, but I'm looking at the fact that this horse is going to be the first, in my opinion, to the rails. Now, you may think it's going to be Let It Be Me or Venom. I don't like Let It Be Me because I expect it to be a firm trot. This one definitely relishes a cut. And then Venom, as much as he won his last start, it still wasn't the most impressive in the world to me. Now, How You Do has the ability to sit off or to take it to them and set pace. And I think this one isn't necessarily going to get loose, but because I think this one's going to be up front, I think it's going to be hard to catch him back. On my second line, I went with horse number 10, Fantastic Justice. This one is fast as well, but jumping from outside, I'm really just relying on class to get this one out on a cross. My third and fourth come from a closer in Lioness, horse number 7. And to round out my four, I went with Venom, who I think as much as not he's not fast, I think he can mature up enough or has matured up enough that he can run back at them late. A very stubborn finisher, in my opinion.
Okay, well, I see this race a little differently than you do. I respect How You Do. I just think he's never shown that he's as good, or hasn't shown yet that he's as good as Let It Be Me and Fantastic Justice. He's lost to both of them. And I think he's, as you said, he's a 3-year-old. So he's 4. So he's maturing. And I think he hasn't gotten to their level yet. But he falls on my fourth line. I'll take number 2, Let It Be Me, because I think there's a good pace setup here for her. Number 1, Venom has one way of going. So too does How You Do, Simmer Down, Emperor, and Fantastic Justice. So there's some horses that will be showing speed. She has some speed of her own. I think number 10, Fantastic Justice, will clear. I think with Jarrell Beckles, the 130 pounds doesn't bother me. He broke his maiden with 128. I think he's the fastest in this spot. He's breaking with no one around him. He will get out. So I think that'll be me, the class, the Guineas winner, rated 55, Fantastic Justice rated 57. Those are the two for me. Then I'll take number 7, Lioness, who broke her maiden last time out. She made a return 3 starts back, and she finished behind Legendary in a race that Let It Be Me was in as well. And she only lost by 7 lengths, and that wasn't a big number for, she was off a layoff and she was going in open company as a maiden. She came back 9 furlongs, 128. 128 pounds. I don't think that those were the dynamics that suited her. So I'm drawing a line sprinting and ran very impressively. So I thought she is a horse that is worth noting, as do you. So she will fall on my third line. And then number 4, How You Do, to round it out for me in the Vitality, 2, 10, 7, and 4. So we're going to move on really quickly to race number 10. It's the Sky Beauty Handicap. This one goes 1,100 meters for the 3-year-olds and older, rated 55 and below. And there's just some races that when you see them come out before jockeys are declared, you're like, this is the high five race. And this is the high five race for a reason. It's so vast and wide open.
It is, and it is indeed. I think I took the longest to handicap this one. It wasn't the most difficult in the world, but I definitely took some time to go through this. I ended up on horse number 3 as my winner in Thunder Lady. Now, Thunder Lady's form got a little bit dirty recently. 8th, 3rd, 9th, 11th, etc., etc. But her last start, she returned to what we know her as. She ran in some deeper fields, some 50 and lowers, some 55s. But now she returns to a 45 where she is more competitive. She has 122 pounds. And let's be fair, Rashawn, this horse is fast. She is going to get the lead. No, she's not the strongest finisher in the world, but all in all, you have to catch her first. My second line went on to Northern Lady, who's amongst all the other ladies has found some tremendous form. She does not finish outside the first 4. Unfortunately, last race that did occur, but it happens. Horse number 10 is on my third line in Rare Nickel, who I think is going to be finishing fast the same way he did last time. Horse number 7 is my 4th, Queen's Consort. And to round out my 4 is the maiden, Montu, who made a brilliant effort last race day. But I don't think this one is ready to, or is good enough to beat these yet. I think he's respectable. I think he will get there eventually, but this field is a little too deep, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I have to agree. Thunder Lady will be in front. I think this is the first pace dynamic we've agreed on all show. Um, I'm going to go against her, but I do respect her. She's the one to catch. She's the one to beat. I'll take number seven, Queen's Consort. I think that this one makes a significant drop in class. And she's competed with the 60s with Let It Be Me, who I picked in the race prior. And I love the route to sprint angle. That's definitely something that I really like with the foundation underneath her to come back here with 123 pounds, the claim of Devonte Abraham. I thought she's going to get a good setup. Again, it's a 45 rated race. She's 45 rated and she's claimed seven. So I thought a lot of things in her favor with the projected speed. On my second line, I'll take number 10. That is Rare Nickel. He, as you showed, finished second behind Thunder Lady. She'll be one coming late as well. Then Northern Lady as on my third line. This is another one kind of dropping in class. She runs really well with these kind of races frame. She's got a win in a 45 and lower. She's got another win in a 40 and lower. And then on two on the board finishes in another 45 and lower. So her last four 45s and lower, she's been one who's been competing for a spot. I think that will be more of the same here, especially with the claim with Raheem Thor. On my fourth line, I'll take number three. Thunder Lady, speed will be the one to catch. It's just how far can she take them? She can take them all the way, don't get me wrong, but these are a lot of horses that are going to be coming after her and a lot of good horses as well. And on my fifth line to round out that high five, I'll take number one as well. Montu, Maiden, made a very impressive run off the layoff to lose to Lioness. I thought that was very impressive. So I'll go 7, 10, 5, 3, and 1 for the high five in race number 10. And what's felt like a marathon day, we've made it to race number 11, the final race on the card. It's the final handicap, going 1,800 meters this year for the top rated horses in the island, 140s and lower. We've got a field of five. We've got the ones who we expected here. The only one obviously missing is probably Smoking Tea, but it's Bulldoze Public Sector round 4.
Sit patient with me. I have none of it. Sit patient with me.
No,
No,
I have public sector.
I have public sector, yes. But on my second line, I have neither of the two Bulldoze or public sector to win. My win in this race is Second Prince. No, as I said, sit patient with me. The last time this horse went 9 furlongs was in the Gold Cup, where this horse went to the front and Bulldoze basically told him, you're going too slow. Now, understand that these horses were basically at level weights. This is a stakes race. Now, we're going 9 furlongs again, and I'm hoping that Deccan Prince takes the same tactics to this race. Deccan Prince basically turned for home in the Gold Cup, a short head behind Bulldoze. Again, I said this is at level weights. Now we're going 9 furlongs again. Bulldoze and public sector have 135 pounds. Deccan Prince has 120. There's a 15-pound difference. In a situation like this, the only way to beat the two classier horses in Bulldoze and public sector is to take it to them. Now, if you look through the rest of Deccan Prince's results, a second and a third, one with Ricky Walker, one with Eric Daniel, neither of the two of them are going 9 furlongs. Neither of the two of them was he on the pace. They changed the dynamic and they tried to close. I personally want them to repeat the Gold Cup effort, and they are not catching Deccan Prince. Bulldoze is fast. Bulldoze is stubborn. Bulldoze is going to be up there, but he has 15 pounds, and we're going a little bit longer. You have to take the burn to him. Now, as it comes to the finish, public side is going to be rolling, regardless of if you like it or not. That horse is going to be flying. I think in a perfect world, Warbeat setting pace for public sector to run into is the ideal scenario. Warbeat is not that fast. I'm sorry. Deccan Prince has to take it early.
I really like that analysis of Deccan Prince. I just think he's a cut below. I do think that Bulldoze and public sector can give him 15 pounds. Also, because I just don't like Warbeat. If your purpose here is to set pace for public sector,
to be a rabbit, yes.
Yeah, but I don't care how fast this horse is. You have one job, so I'm making whoever goes miserable. You don't have to necessarily go 10 lengths clear, but I think he's fast enough, and I think they showed some speed with him in the Coolmore when he took on Jerry the Nipper. They haven't done that since, so I'm not sure if that's what they're going to do. Also, portfolio company from the rail. This is a horse I've been saying from the get-go needs to go to the lead, and I think from the inside now, there's one thing forcing his hand. So I like what you say about Deccan Prince with the 15 pounds difference, but I just can't see past Bulldoze and public sector. I really These
Understandably
are
so, though.
they are two of the best horses we've seen in a very long time. And in the replay, where public said they're getting into some trouble, and I was toying with the idea of putting him over Bulldoze. There's a smaller that's 9 furlongs. I think to public sector's camp, this is the race you put up or you shut up. Because if Bulldoze wins this race, what do we do in Barbados to get Bulldoze beaten? I think Bulldoze, he unlike public sector, puts himself in the race so he doesn't run into issues. He gets good trips every single time. And the most important thing, when horses come to bulldoze, they cannot get by. And I think that as long as Lopez keeps him close and keeps him within himself, which he's been for every start in Barbados, he's going to be very, very tough to a world where Bulldoze can lead this race, and I think if Bulldoze leads this race, it's over. So I am gonna take the classy ones, 135. I think they'll probably need to take 200 points, 200 pounds to lose this race. I don't mind them giving £5 to a Gold Cup winner, £15 to a horse that they repeatedly beat. Granted, Deccan Prince did beat Public Sector in the race after the Gold Cup, but I think these are two of the best horses, and they will come through with that form.
And I mean, what you said is absolutely true. They're two of the best horses that completely stand on a different level to everybody else. But I have to take the gamble. I have to take the risk. I think 15 pounds is a lot of weight, regardless of if we're sprinting or
It is.
staying. But I'm going to take the risk. If I'm wrong, that's fine. They're two very classy horses. If I'm right, I'm going to taunt some people.
Yeah, I mean, you're not a complete shot in the dark, and you have valid reasoning. So we'll see. It's a really competitive final handicap, but it could end up being a chalk fest. We'll see how that one goes to end season number 2. So we've come to the end of another episode of Pillar to Post. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. This was the Barbados Thoroughbred Breeders Association Race Day. We're on break now till November. Thank you for tuning in, and good luck. May all your tickets be winning ones.
Thanks for watching, guys. And until next time, all the best.